Hello, I'm Patrick Beverley and this is Kim Skinner.
Hello.
And we're here in front of this camera to tell you about a comedy show this Sunday. It's the season finale of our show AtoMIC Comedy. It's at a lovely little space called Inusual Project in the Raval. You can find it on Carrer Paloma, just off Joaquin Costa. It's this Sunday at 8 o'clock, and as I said, it's our season finale, so this is your last chance to see us until the beginning of the new season in September, because we're taking a long summer break. Our comedy show is in English, and a lot of people ask me, Patrick, doing a comedy show in English in Barcelona, isn't that a little bit like you're trying to colonize the place? And to them I say, yes. For British people, colonizing places with armed forces is so last century, and the century before that, and the century before that, and several centuries before that. But these days, we don't colonize with military force, we colonize with culture. And that's what we're doing here. We've got a comedy show for you. It's completely free. And we have an extra special guest, professional comedian Andre de Freitas, joining us this Sunday, as well as lots of surprises. Now, this is our 13th show, and the first AtoMIC Comedy show started up in October last year, and at the time I wasn't a host of the show, so Kim, as one of the founders of AtoMIC Comedy, could you tell them about how the show got started?
Sure. So I started the show with Kadri Race, a friend of mine who she was previously running a show called Burn It Down with John Beltran de Heredia, and they did something like just over a year's worth of shows, like over 40 shows I think, and they decided to have a break. Life got in the way and things, so yeah, they had a little break, and then Kadri and I started AtoMIC together in October. She then left to go travelling, so Patrick took over as my co-host.
I was very honoured to get asked to do the co-hosting bit, and it meant somebody would actually put me on stage every couple of Sundays, so I was very grateful for that. So we've had a lot of fun moments during the time that we've been running the show. I've been trying to think through today some of my favourite moments, and I think for me one of the top ones was when we booked a famous Indian comedian without knowing it at all. His name is Abhijit Ganguly, and he just contacted the page like any other comedian, just saying, "Oh, can I have a few minutes on stage with you?" We didn't find out he was famous until sometime later, when loads of messages started pouring in from people desperate to find out whether there would be tickets available. As we said, it's a free show, you don't have to buy a ticket, but we reserved seats for a lot of people who were very anxious to get a good view of Abhijit Ganguly. Single-handedly the most interest we've ever got in a show. As I say, we had absolutely no idea what we were booking, and to be honest, YouTube didn't really clear things up for us because all of his recorded performances were from India, and he has a great little shtick where he will deliver the setup in English but then the punchlines in Hindi. Very frustrating jokes to watch. So that was one of my kind of favourite moments from the show. What are the...
He was great as well.
Oh yeah, he was brilliant. Actually, it was a great show as well because we also had Jordan Gray from Essex in England, who contestant on The Voice before, had made the switch into a comedy about a year before that. She absolutely killed it. She was fantastic. What other great moments have we had at the show? Anything spring to mind?
Nothing springing to mind, Patrick, no.
No, yeah, you were just telling me before we started filming that thing about how you hate being made to think on your feet. I'm not sure why I did that. Can't apologise enough. But yeah, so the essential details are this Sunday, 8 o'clock, Inusual Project in the Raval, fantastic venue, fantastic comedians, surprises, and we're really looking forward to seeing you there.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Yes,
yes,
we are.
I can confirm. Yeah.
Very, very much looking forward to seeing all of you there. Oh, the one thing I didn't mention is that our show is sort of an open mic. Now, don't get too excited because we do have the lineup set for this Sunday, but when we come back after our summer break in September, we'd like to let everybody know that for those who do comedy in English or who aspire to doing comedy in English, we have a page on Facebook through which people contact us to ask for slots at our show, and we've introduced loads of people to the world of comedy. We were actually both introduced to the world of comedy by the previous show that was kind of the predecessor of AtoMIC Comedy, Burn It Down.
Yeah,
we're the so-called Burn It Down babies. We were first-time comedians on the Burn It Down stage, and now we're running the show that sprung up from its ashes. And there is an expression in English for this situation, which is the lunatics are running the asylum, or if you prefer, the animals are running the zoo. So that's us. We're the lunatics. We run the asylum. And if you would like to be a lunatic in our asylum or an animal in our zoo, you can contact our Facebook page, and we are very happy to give people their first time on stage doing comedy. We give people 5 minutes their first time, and we've had a lot of people come and really knock it out of the park their first time doing comedy. And we've had a lot of people come and be a bit crap their first time and get a taste for it and come back and be really good their second time. So, you know, if you do feel like giving comedy a try, as I say, we're going to be on a little bit of a summer break, but when we come back in September, we're looking to have lots more people performing on our stage. We kind of got into this without really knowing what we were getting into, didn't we? This interview thing here.
How to get out.
We don't.
Sort of stuck.
We're kind of
help us, Victoria.
our captors are looking at us from behind the camera, signaling to us to ask for a higher ransom, and we assume they'll give us a signal when it's time for us to stop talking into this camera, but until then, I'm going to continue doing my advertising promo voice. And I'm glad I wore khaki trousers for this, because I feel like this is a very khaki trousers kind of a voice I'm doing, and the short-sleeved shirt as well, it just helps me to get into the character of this guy.
I feel like actually a tweed, if it weren't summer, a tweed jacket with patches might be...
Oh, yeah.
Be suitable.
I gotta get me one of those.
Yeah.
Like, I've always felt like slightly too young for a tweed jacket still, but I feel like I'm edging to the point.
Could carry it off. Yeah.
I think I could.
Yeah.
I think there'll be a certain amount of overlap between my jeans years and my tweed jacket years. I think maybe not both in the same outfit, but
fuck it, why not?
Yeah, I mean we could. Are we
try
allowed to swear on this?
Hope so.
Yeah. If we're not, then we just really cocked that up, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes. So, to resume my khaki trousers, short-sleeved shirt voice, even got this little pocket here, but it doesn't have a pen in it. Luckily, I can remedy that. A little pen clipped into my pocket, and I've got some more things to tell you about a wonderful little English comedy show called AtoMIC Comedy Barcelona. Now, we've had performers from all over the world at AtoMIC Comedy. A lot of people, they look at a show like this, they think it would be mostly Americans, mostly British people. Nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, we have had performers from 5 different continents on this show. We've pretty much given up on Antarctica at this point, but we have high hopes for Africa next season. And we've had Europe, we've had North America, we've had South America, we've had Asia, and we've had a lot of people from Oceania.
Yeah.
Sometimes I announce people as coming from a country in Oceania that they do not in fact come from. That was an experience.
That was a one-off.
Well, it would have been a one-off, except that I continued doing it for a little while to make it look like I'd done it on purpose. That was my first show as host, and that was a really good experience for me, my first show as host, because I got my absolute worst hosting stint out of the way the first time. My big idea was that I would go with something that I knew was funny, because I had made my friends who were visiting me from back home laugh a lot with it, which was to tell them about curious Catalan customs. As it turned out, the entire audience were people who had lived here for years and were already kind of over the cagadillo. So, nobody laughed, and then I announced a comedian from New Zealand as Australian. Don't know how many New Zealanders you've met, they don't really like it that much.
She took it very well.
She did take it very well. She only spent about 2.5 minutes ripping it out of me on the stage before moving on to her planned material. But yes, we've had comedians from Oceania, Asia, Europe, North America, South America.
How many comedians in total?
How many comedians in total? We have had 53 comedians in total, and all being well this Sunday, we will bring that total up to, I think it's going to be 56? I'm not entirely sure where André de Freitas is from. Do you know where he's from?
I believe he's Portuguese.
Yes! We haven't had a Portuguese person before, so that's going to be 56 nationalities that we've had on our stage. So that's another reason to come and see AtoMIC Comedy, because we may be British, and fair enough, maybe you don't like British people, that would be totally understandable, but you will see a lot of comedians from a lot of different countries besides Britain at our show, and it's a real coming together of nations, and indeed people from here as well. There's a thriving Spanish comedy scene here. In fact, I've performed a little comedy in Spanish myself. But we also have comedians from the Spanish scene coming over to our English show to do comedy in English. Sometimes on the same evening.
Often, actually.
Yeah,
Sometimes,
we
yeah.
dovetail quite nicely with a show a little bit earlier on Sunday evenings. So quite often people run in the door a little bit out of breath, having done a set in Spanish, and come and do something in English.
Change the old language chip.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. So, you know, we're not just Guiris, we're also Spanish people, and we're also just all kinds of people at this show. We have an incredible mix of styles.
We do.
We had a dancer last Sunday.
We did.
I was not expecting his set. That little opening he did.
It was very surprising.
Wow. Yes.
Very physical.
Physical as hell, yeah. And up until now, I've seen a few sets of his, and up until now, he had kind of been trying to get away from his past as a dancer, but I think he's embraced it now.
I think he should.
I think he
He's
should,
done the right thing.
absolutely. Yeah, most certainly. So, just to reiterate one more time, Inusual Project, this Sunday at 8 o'clock, that's in the Raval, the party neighbourhood. Don't believe what they tell you about Gracia. It's a comedy show in English. It is free to get in. We got a special guest, professional comedian Andre de Freitas, plus some darlings of the local scene, and, as I think I mentioned earlier, surprises. And this is going to be our season finale, so this is your last chance to see AtoMIC comedy before our long summer break.
It's going to be a hell of a show, Patrick, isn't it?
I think it is going to be, if it's not the best show we've ever had, I will sink into a depression that I will not lift myself out of till September. I'm staking.
Hats or something? I don't know.
I've eaten too many hats already. Hats can be toxic.
Hats are off the menu.
Don't eat hats. And yeah, that's what we really came here to say. Don't eat hats, and come and see AtoMIC comedy. Thanks for your attention. It's my thing.
It's your thing.
Yeah.
That's literally the exact opposite of my thing.
Yeah, I got a friend. I've got a friend back home who likes these as my party trick now because she can't get through a sentence in normal conversation without tripping over her words. And we recorded like this half-hour like wrestling special where we were just fighting each other, and then we sat down with a video and we just did commentary, and I just like talked fast for 30 minutes without stopping. Just like. and then we recorded like a little promo thing, because I did my trash talk video, and then Mark wanted to do his, but he's mush mouth, he's not shit at talking. So he was like, what I'm going to do is you be talking again, and then I'll come